Why? Because we love making movies!
As a director, your job is explaining your vision. Your job is articulating to them what you want on the screen.
You know, when directors get to be in my situation, they don't make things tough on themselves. We had 3 days to do a scene, it was 3 days. The hope that whatever it takes to make that happen would reflect on screen.
When I don't use a monitor, I'm right next to the camera. I can actually even talk to the actors during the scene. Maybe I'm their inner voice. You know, if somebody says something, he looks at them and I go, he's lying.
The set is church. He is God. The script is Bible. And no heretics allowed.
I have one camera on the set, and the only shot we're shooting is the shot I'm framing. I frame the shot. Any composition you see in my movie was composed by me.
Now I want to actually do a movie where I actually indulge in suspense. The opening scene of the movie, as an example, that's a scene that's built around dialogue as a mechanism for suspense. It's structured around 3 characters. You know, the first chapter is the introduction of Londa. Underneath it, it's like the suspense is a rubber band. As long as that rubber band can stretch, the more suspenseful it is. That scene is more suspenseful at 22 minutes than would be at 8. Actually, learning about acting and everything, actually just as a director, it gives you a sense of how to talk to an actor. That's one of the things about actor-directors have. They speak actor talk. They know how to elicit things from an actor and make them comfortable.
But the thing about it, though, is movies are hard. And if I'm going to be on a set, I want it to be my set. I don't want to be making somebody's dumb movie as an actor. I don't care about your dumb movie. I care about my dumb movie.
Because I'm a writer-director, and that makes it different. I mean, you are at the bottom of Mount Everest every single solitary time, and you make less movies that way. To me, the glory in what I do is the fact that it starts with a blank piece of paper. You look at something like Inglourious Basterds. If my mother never met my father, that would not exist in any way, shape, or form. But once I write it, it's history. I just inform it by, you know, talking to the actors about it and everything. I know about the character's past, and I just want the actors to know. Brad Pitt's character, Aldo Rain, has a rope burn. Well, I want you to just figure it out, all right? I mean, it's up to you to supply where that rope burn came from. And now that's your movie. The thing is, why it is special when I work with the actors that I work is it is a meeting of actor and character. I want everyone to be a home run. And, you know, frankly, I created the character, so I'm really damn precious about them. In the case of actually both Christoph and Brad, you know, it's right there on the page. And they don't have to go and find somebody that they can pattern the character after. They have me. I know this person. I can explain who they are.
When you get into a Quentin Tarantino movie, you get to embrace one of the characters. You soon learn that he's got backstory since the inception of the guy.
Quentin had sort of briefed me on my character's background for many, many weeks, actually. She's supposed to be this big German movie star, but who's adored by the public because she stayed. She didn't leave when the war started.
I wrote a sequence that I didn't put in the movie that lays out a little bit more how she got involved with the cinema. Because I felt in the script you needed it. In the movie, I felt you didn't need it. You know, there's certain things you just don't need when you're dealing with pictures as opposed to words. When I'm writing the script, even though I'm thinking about cinematic things and this and that and the other, when I'm putting pen to paper, it's F the movie. It is about the page. And part of my job is to kind of realize what I don't need as I'm making the movie. Now, once I'm making the movie, then I'm not really thinking about the script that much, and now I'm making the movie.
The script was so tight and so good, and yet Quentin wasn't precious about it like I would expect going into it. But when it got to a certain point near the end of the film, and we had the luxury of shooting a sequence, he started slashing and burning his own script and redirecting things and condensing things to keep the movement.
Say we go to do Brad's bit, interrogating Sergeant Rockman, and we say we're shooting that on Wednesday. It doesn't matter that I wrote it 10 years ago. Wednesday is what's important. How do we feel today? That's got to be part of it, or else what the hell are you doing? In the original script, it was all about her doing the real change. She gets shot by Zoller before she can do the real change. I thought, you know what? I don't think we need 2 climaxes. By eliminating the scaling, the projector thing, then I make it about Zoller and Shoshana. There's something to me very poignant about the 2 of them laying down there, dead on the ground, while the projector reel is still going on, and we know that she's going to live. You know, you have all these ideas for your last half hour. How little can I have in here and still make a feasible story? Even the way Hitler died was different. Hitler's got to see her, all right? And it can't just be a bomb that Londa planted. No, I mean, the bear Jew has to kill him. I mean, it's got to make it personal. It can't just be a random act. You got to put bullets in the guy. I'm really not about hitting it on things on the head. I'm about glancing blows. I trust that it's full. I'm a very analytical guy, too. I try to be very unanalytical when it comes to both writing and directing. And one of the fun things is when I'm done with everything, and now you get to be analytical about the process. When they wipe out the Nazis, they desecrate the bodies. And I wanted you to see the desecration because that's the goal. That's what they're trying to do, is have the other Nazis show up and see these bodies as, oh my God, what did they do to Fritz? Sure. It's about the story that's going to go about the bastards and how it's going to get into the psyche of the German soldier. My characters changed the course of the war. Now, that didn't happen because my characters didn't exist. But if they had have existed, everything that happens is fairly plausible. Shoshana is standing in for every hero that affected the war that we will never know about. Foam on the beach, yesterday's snow. And that is a point of Shoshana's character. I mean, when you really take it, there was a lot of Shoshanas in World War II, and we will never know their name, and no one will ever record it. But there's also a lot of little things where there's like certain things in the movie where I do a shadow version of what happened in real life. The movie that Goebbels is making in my film is Nation's Pride. Well, the movie in real life that he did was a movie called Colesberg, but there are shadows of each other.
It was actually well researched. I found Quentin actually far more knowledgeable about the war than I did. And then to take those leaps, since it was based in reality, there felt like great room for it.
One of the things is about language. And that was such a big deal in World War II. I mean, people died and were shot and thrown in ditches because they couldn't understand a German order. I mean, it's really easy, to shoot in another language. But it's my material. I know what they're saying. I know my dialogue. All right, and I actually worked with the translators on it. But you know it. You know what they're saying, and especially if you do it a couple times, you really get to know what they're saying. So that's never been a problem for me. It's always a lot of fun. I was having a problem with them doing my dialogue in English, and it wasn't a matter of fluency. A lot of them could come in and we could speak for the next 9 hours in English, and there would be no problem. English wasn't the language for them to read poetry in, and there's a poetic quality to my dialogue. And there's wordplay and there's rhythms, and you have to be able to get the poetry out of it. You have to be able to sell my jokes. And when it came to a lot of these German actors with the English, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't get the poetry out of it. They couldn't own it and make it their own. And then Christoph, he came in, and I can literally say halfway through the reading of that first scene in the farmhouse, I knew I'd found my Londa.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
One of the things that gave me a license after I had already claimed one for myself was watching the movies that the Hollywood studios made during the war. Yet, the movies that they made, they were entertaining. The intrigue was there. The adventure stories were there. They were witty. There is a comedy aspect to everything that I've ever done. I stop short of calling them comedies because there's actually serious stuff in the film. But that doesn't mean we can't have a good time. It comes out of just the way I do things. But also part of my method of doing stuff is to make people laugh at stuff that's not normally funny. There becomes this moment in the film where the laughs kind of start, and then they kind of keep going, and they keep going, and then all of a sudden you actually had a German audience thinking to themselves, wait a minute, I'm actually watching a World War II movie that I'm allowed to enjoy. And it ended up being a very liberating thing for the theater.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.